Novice designers attend clothing conferences and even speak wildly and ridicule the creative works of famous designers in public. Morphe said, "I think his designs are too superficial, and for the sake of publicity gimmicks, they have to be linked to the theme of love. Do you think, if a bird can represent any loyal love, then Liang Shanhua and Juingtai will die in vain?" Morphe was talking to her girlfriend here, but she didn't expect the designer himself to be standing behind her. When did Xia Shuling ever make people ridiculed like this? So he asked Morphe what he meant. Morphe felt embarrassed for a while, and after sorting out her emotions, she apologized to Xia Shuling, explaining that she was just expressing her thoughts just now, and did not mean to her. Xia Shuling asked, "For example, tell me about it." Morphe said, "I think if you use organza, the whole dress will look more fairy-like." Xia Shui's face was full of disdain after listening. Not only did she not agree with Morphe's point of view, but also accused her of being a rookie who was not worthy of attending the press conference. Mo Fei was not angry after hearing this, and bowed to Xia Shuling and apologized. She knew she couldn't afford to offend Xia Shuling, but Morphe's actions attracted the attention of the domineering president. Just after the reckless passerby knocked off her notepad, the boss picked it up first, but he didn't return it to Morphe. Instead, he looked at it by himself. When he saw the swan painted by Morphe, the boss was disappointed, thinking that she was copying someone else's design. Morphe explained that he was just recording something and had no idea of plagiarism, but the boss didn't listen at all. Also told Morphe that swan had been registered as a trademark by the company, and her plagiarism was the biggest insult to the original. Friends who know the boss know that he is playing with pleasure, but this makes Morphe angry. Morphe said, "Your crane logo is registered, but is the crane registered? And I told you everything, I didn't plagiarize, I just recorded it." Morphe angrily tore off the swan page and returned it to the boss. But she never expected that the overlord would play a scoundrel. The boss thinks that Morphe has already memorized the graphics in his heart. Morphe couldn't hold back at all, accusing Ba of always being vexatious. "I said that you developed the cloth meeting, isn't it just for people to see?" My girlfriend said, "Gone, Mr. Tang, I'm sorry." Morphe said, "Why are you sorry?" The girlfriend on the side recognized the identity of the boss and pulled Morphe to flee the press conference, but dropped her notepad on the ground in a panic. Looking at the backs of the two leaving, the boss smiled knowingly. Obviously he had a good impression of the simple Morphe. After picking up her notepad, he took it home and looked through it carefully. The boss found that Morphe did have extraordinary design talent. While admiring her, a seed of love also took root in the heart of the boss. At this time, Morphe didn't know that he had been targeted. She was still worried about how to get her notepad back. Early the next morning, Mo Fei came to the boss's Mingyuan group, wanting to find the boss to get the notebook back. But the front desk said that Morphe did not make an appointment. She was not allowed to go in alive or dead. At this moment, Morphe had an idea and followed the company's employees into the checkpoint, but was kicked out by the security guard. This made Morphe angry enough. After returning home, she logged onto the radio, began to complain about the overlord's company. "I went to take my things, kicked me out, and said that I was the company that understood the traditional spirit the most. Do you understand the spirit of tradition? Do you understand what our ancestors said about benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faith? Do you understand what our ancestors said about picking up gold?" The more Morphe spoke, the more he got upset. But she didn't know that all this had been heard by the boss. It turned out that the account number and password of Radio Morphe were written down in the notebook. Perhaps it was curiosity, so the overlord went to the radio to take a look, but he didn't expect to be scolded. He couldn't help but send a message to Morphe, lawyer's letter. Morphe was immediately startled, and the joy of a fan was gone. But at this time she didn't know that this person was the boss. In order to get the notepad back, she would go to wait for the boss outside the door of Mingyuan Company every day, but without exception she was stopped by the bodyguards, and could only watch the boss leave her sight. So she vented her emotions on the bodyguard. "What does it have to do with you?" It was not in the building again. It suddenly rained heavily that day, but Morphe still came to Mingyuan Company. Perhaps moved by her sincerity, the boss invited Morphe into the office, but he lied that the notepad was not around. The boss asked Morphe to write down his home address, and he would arrange for the courier to send it over. Although Morphe's face was full of reluctance, he could only obey. But this scene was seen by Xia Shuling, who likes to be a boss. Just when Morphe was about to leave, but she stopped her. Xia Shuling said, "Mingxian, do you want to make sure there is something missing in the office?" Morphe said, "I said that the people in your company are really quite strange. There are quite a lot of things in this office, such as human touch." The two were for tat here, but Mr. Ba was snickering on the side, obviously treating Morphe as a pistachio. In the end, under his intervention, Xia Shuling made way for Mo Fei, but this also made her hate Mo Fei even more. But the overlord just stared at Morphe's contact information. "I didn't even look at Xia Shuling." Perhaps it was fateful fate, and this Tianba finally saw his girl again. At this time, Morphe was admiring an ink painting, completely unaware of the overlord who had come behind her. Just as Morphe took out her mobile phone and was about to take a photo, the boss interrupted her. This startled Morphe. "Why are you here?" After recovering her emotions, Morphe hurriedly asked the boss for a notebook, which still contained her little secret. But it was impossible for the overlord to let Morphe get what he wanted. Just a few simple words, he gave Morphe a routine. The stupid Morphe not only didn't bring the notebook back, but also put his contact information in. Until the boss disappeared from her sight, Morphe didn't react. When he returned home, he picked up his notebook and looked at it, but he didn't expect to see a portrait of a man. He picked up his phone and took a photo, which was somewhat similar to himself. The boss immediately ran to Morphe's house and asked her if she was drawing herself. But the answer was completely different from what the overlord expected. Morphe said, "Brad Pitt." Morphe said, Look at the short hair." The boss turned around and left with a depressed face, and then drove away, which made Morphe a little confused. After returning home, she complained to netizens about what happened today. Although he only had one listener, Morphe still enjoyed it. But she didn't know that the boss was the only fan she had. Mo Fei, who is as fond of the editor as the editor, said that he was going to Suzhou to learn embroidery. Early the next morning, the boss, who was going to the embroidery workshop to talk about cooperation, deliberately changed his itinerary, yawned and came to the high-speed rail station, wanting to create a chance encounter with Morphe. After seeing Morphe come out, the boss asked the driver to ask Morphe for directions. Mr. Boss said, "Go ask her, how does Su Xiaofang go?" The driver said, "Isn't she the tenacious lesbian?" The driver instantly understood what the boss meant. For the sake of the boss's future happiness, the driver could only bite the bullet and struck up a conversation with Morphe, falsely claiming that the navigation in the car was broken. Let Morphe take them to Su embroidery workshop. The simple Morphe did not doubt it, so he agreed to show them the way. Morphe said, "Take someone else's car and don't say thank you. If someone else is needed to lead the way, they won't say thank you." The boss deliberately chatted with Morphe, although he was always reprimanded. But he also enjoyed it and couldn't extricate himself. Although Morphe's appearance is ordinary, it hides an interesting soul, which is exactly what the boss is looking for. They arrived at their destination in no time. Ba always came to buy the embroidery workshop, but his progress was not very smooth. Even if the price was given 10 times the price of the embroidery workshop itself, it was still rejected by the person in charge. He didn't want to push his hard work into commercial operation. The overlord had no choice but to think of another way. Before the work was negotiated, he wandered around the Su embroidery workshop. Soon he saw Morphe's figure. The president of 100 billion was staring at an embroiderer, and the serious and focused appearance of the embroiderer fascinated him. Suddenly the embroiderer accidentally injured her finger, and the president also frowned. At this time, the embroiderer also noticed him. The president had no choice but to turn his head awkwardly and pretend to be lost. But Morphe made him laugh as soon as he opened his mouth. "I said that in such a small place as Su Xiaofang, these two people can still get lost. Should I give you a navigation system? Good-looking skins are the same, and interesting souls are 1 in 1,000. Every time Tang Mingxian chats with Morphe, he feels particularly relaxed. Tang Mingxuan's purpose in coming to the embroidery workshop this time was to acquire the embroidery workshop, but he was rejected by Master Li because the acquisition plan was too commercial. In order to be able to learn more about the embroidery workshop, he asked Morphe to show him around. Mo Fei didn't want to meddle in her own affairs, but she actually longed for a better future for the embroidery workshop, which could also improve the lives of embroiderers. So she became Tang Mingxuan's guide. Morphe introduced it well. Tang Mingxian also echoed a few words from time to time. Because he listened too attentively, Tang Mingxian almost tripped over the steps, which also made Mo Fei laugh. And Tang Mingxian was also infected by her laughter and began to fight with Morphe, completely without the president's former shelf. Morphe reminded Tang Mingxian, Master Li values not only money, but also the inheritance and development of Suzhou embroidery skills. This made Tang Mingxian instantly inspired. And next, Mo Fei used practical actions to make Tang Mingxian open. Take Morphe to his company's clothing store. I want Morphe to evaluate his company's products with the appreciation level of Su embroidery. Morphe did not refuse either, carefully examining each dress. The boss asked, "How is it? Our Song and Tang dynasties are not bad, right?" The boss really hoped that Morphe could praise herself, but she frowned. Morphe had already discovered the existence of the problem, but he did not say it in person, but led the boss to a handmade embroidery booth. Mo Fei took the embroidery in the embroiderer's hand, and then took the boss's hand, wanting him to feel the difference in artificial embroidery. The boss's heart was like a deer. He pretended to be calm and stroke the embroidery, but all he thought about was Morphe. Then he told Morphe that he felt her hands sweating, which left Morphe speechless. At this time, the overlord had completely forgotten the purpose of coming here. "I also bought 2 puppets before leaving." Morphe said, "Why, do you see that I have been with you all day and want to buy a doll for me? This little fox is quite cute. I said if you take a little prince, could it be some kind of prince disease? The boss said, I bought it for you. Morphe said, just like you can't meet any prince except the prince. The overlord snatched the little fox that Morphe liked and left the little prince to her. At this time, Morphe didn't realize that he had been taken over by the boss. On the way back, the boss looked at the little fox in his hand, but he remembered what happened just now. The picture of contact with Morphe. He couldn't help but discuss it with the driver. You said a girl, she always ignored you before, but suddenly, she had physical contact with you, what's going on? The driver immediately became vigilant after hearing this. He told the boss that this trick is called wanting to capture and indulge, and it is a trick that many girls are used to. The driver reminded the boss to be careful and not to fall into the trap designed by others. The driver became more and more excited, and even laughed at Mr. Ba's lack of experience in this area. It wasn't until he saw the murderous eyes of the boss in the rearview mirror that the driver reacted and changed his tone. It's not me, I mean that girl actually likes you quite a bit. After hearing this, the overlord instantly smiled from ear to ear, looking forward to seeing Morphe again. And the opportunity came quickly. It turned out that after being reminded by Morphe, the boss visited the person in charge of Sushiofang again, and changed from the original acquisition to cooperation. The person in charge was very moved by this. He agreed to the boss's request for cooperation, but he gave the task to Morphe. Morphe said, me. No, master, this responsibility is too great. The master said, you are the person I trust the most, and I think you are now fully capable of making judgments on my behalf. Morphe said, I have no experience, master. The master said, it's good if you do it like you usually do, I'm sure you can. Morphe had no choice but to agree to the master. But when the boss learned of the situation, he was happy. He pushed away all the meetings of the company and immediately rushed to find Morphe. Tang Mingxian is a ruthless and domineering president, but after meeting Morphe, a poor girl, his eyes are full of tenderness. Today, Morphe signed a contract with Mr. Ba on behalf of the embroidery master. However, just as the two were going back, the boss suddenly saw a fast-moving electric car about to crash into Morphe. At this moment of crisis, the overlord disregarded his own life and safety and hugged Morphe into his arms, so that he escaped the disaster without danger. The boss thought that Morphe would definitely be moved to tears, but I didn't expect the other party to appreciate it at all. What are you doing? The boss said, do you think I want to take advantage of you? Morphe said, then why did you suddenly run over and hug me? The boss said, no, he almost hit you just now. Morphe said, I said you have paranoia, right? The boss was afraid that Morphe would encounter danger again, so he escorted her all the way home. Morphe didn't expect the boss's skin to be so thick. Seeing that he had no intention of leaving, Morphe ran to pour him water, but the boss wandered around, picked up Morphe's puppet fox, and put it next to the little prince he gave her. This is the unique way of confessing the boss. Then he chatted with Morphe. When she learned that Morphe's part-time studio was going to hold a clothing exhibition, Mr. Ba quickly said that he was very familiar with her boss. Although he may not have time to go, Su Mingyang will definitely be suspicious. When the overlord returned home, he couldn't help but take out the little prince's diary, which recorded the good memories of the overlord's childhood. In fact, for so many years, Mr. Ba has been looking for the girl who likes little foxes, but he didn't know that the girl was Morphe. This may be fate. Tang Mingxian specially came to participate in the personal clothing exhibition held by Mo Fei's teacher for the sake of Morphe. However, just as the two of them were walking around, but suddenly there was a situation in the background. It turned out that Bai Xiaoman's clothes had a hole in them, but the assistant repeatedly explained that her scissors did not touch the clothes. Bai Xiaoman took the opportunity to provoke all kinds of provocations. I think it's too late, Morphe said. I said it was too late. Morphe ignored her, but sat down calmly and began to mend stitches one by one. Bai Xiaoman began to chatter and scold Morphe, and Morphe had to warn her, if you don't shut up, sew your mouth up. Bai Xiaoman had no choice but to grit her teeth obediently and close her mouth. At this time, Director Fang also rushed over to check. He didn't expect Morphe to use the almost lost Sushio to repair the hole. After a while, a beautiful flower was embroidered and perfectly covered the hole, and then Morphe's aura crushed this little employee who didn't know the height of the sky. Morphe said to Lin Xiaoming, if you fall down when you come on stage, you will smash your own job. You're so smart that you should know what I'm talking about. After Morphe left, Fang Xiaoyu looked at her Sushio again. She hadn't seen such a talented girl for a long time. After the embroidery exhibition began, Tang Mingxian asked Mo Fei to sit next to her and explain to her. And this scene happened to be seen by Fang Xiaoyu, and she got up straight and changed seats. Whenever Mo Fei explained to Tang Mingxian, Fang Xiaoyu deliberately diverted Mo Fei's attention. Tang Mingxian had no choice but to smile awkwardly, who made his other party Xiaoyu's sister regret her marriage, even if she owed him. The whole show is over. The two men were secretly competing, and Fang Xiaoyu also saw that Tang Mingxian was different from Mo Fei, so she was more interested in Mo Fei. She came backstage to find Mo Fei's teacher, and from his mouth, Fang Xiaoyu really understood Mo Fei's strength. Morphy was not only a disciple of Master Su Xiu, but also applied for his alma mater, the Paris Fashion School. This made Fang Xiaoyu have an idea in his heart. The next day, Fang Xiaoyu specifically found Morphy. She gave Morphy a pair of scissors, which were the scissors used by Morphy's idol, teacher Qin Lang. Morphy was immediately excited, but then she put it back very reluctantly. This gift is too precious, and I will not be rewarded without merit. Fang Xiaoyu said, it's all a trivial matter. She also plans to help Morphy write a letter of recommendation to her alma mater so that she can be admitted smoothly. This flattered Morphy. But what Fang Xiaoyu didn't expect was that Morphy rejected her because she wanted to pass the exam through her own strength instead of going through the back door. Despite Fang Xiaoyu's repeated requests, Morphy still insisted on his ideas. Such a talented and principled girl, who cannot be tempted. But the order of appearance of love is crucial. Moreover, Fang Xiaoyu at this time was mostly to take revenge on Tang Mingxian. Mo Fei then came to Mingyuan Group to find Tang Mingxian, because she had been blacklisted by the security guard, so she had to wait downstairs. Tang Mingxian had no choice but to stand outside and chat with her. This should be the exclusive pet of the boss. Mo Fei told Tang Mingxian that Master Li had agreed to Mingyuan Group's acquisition plan, which made Tang Mingxian overjoyed. He sincerely thanked Morphy for his efforts behind the scenes, but Morphy was not proud of himself at all. This made Tang Mingxian even more convinced that Mo Fei must like him. Although she rejected Fang Xiaoyu's gift, she accepted the Overlord's invitation to date. The two came to a romantic bullfrog hot pot, but on the way back to Morphy, the boss became narcissistic. This admiring look is too straightforward, right? The Overlord thought that Morphy also liked him, so he sent her a soul torch. The boss asked, why do you keep looking at me? Morphy said, actually, I've always wanted to tell you. The boss said, you can say it directly. Morphy said, there's a sauce on the corner of your mouth. The employee said, Mr. Tang, I'm sorry, we didn't see it just now. The boss said, why are you careless? Should I be more focused when I go to work? The domineering president once again staged a heroic rescue of beauty, in order to show his personal charm in front of his beloved girl. He also taught his employees a lesson. Morphy expressed his gratitude to the boss and hoped that he would not embarrass the workers. But the Overlord didn't care, he only cared about whether Morphy was injured. However, the sweet scene between the two was seen by Xia Shuling. Mr. Ba's mother had long identified her as her daughter-in-law, and Xia Shuling regarded Mo Fei as a thorn in her side. And soon she ushered in the opportunity to make things difficult for Morphy. It turned out that in order to promote Chinese-style clothing, Mr. Ba sponsored the TV station to hold a costume design competition. Morphy naturally didn't want to miss this opportunity. After learning that the organizer had prepared a studio for the contestants, Morphy came to the headquarters with her luggage, but she went the wrong way in a daze. The boss asked, why did you come here? Morphy said, I should have gone to the wrong building, I'm going to find a designer. Mr. Ba said, this floor is my office, you find a designer downstairs. Morphy said, okay, then I'll go. The boss said, hey, wait a minute, I just had something to look for you, go to my office. The boss invited Morphy to the office and wanted to cheer her up. But before he could say a few words, he was destroyed by Xia Shuling, who came over. She pretended to say hello to Morphy warmly, and then asked Mr. Ba to take a look at the latest summer products. Xia Shuling wanted to drive away her rival in this way, but she never expected that the Overlord would invite Morphy to go with her. The boss asked, do you want to be together? Morphy said, is it okay? The boss said, you can come with me. Mo Fei happily agreed. She was also about to see the world, but this made Xia Shuling angry enough. You must know that not everyone can enter the design room. The Overlord's love for Mo Fei made Xia Shuling extremely crazy, so he made things difficult for Mo Fei and asked her to comment on the clothes she designed. The result was a slap in the face. Morphy said, let's take this dress, the professional style is simple and capable, and the texture of the clothes is also very good, but this is too similar to the 2015 Armani Spring/Summer collection. Morphy found plagiarized clothes one after another, and the boss immediately took out his mobile phone to check after hearing this, which cannot be described as plagiarism at all. It's exactly the same. The Overlord was naturally furious, and the company had once sued people for plagiarism, but now it still has been taught repeatedly. The boss said, you know that today is fortunately Morphy, if this thing is released as a new product, you can't solve the problem by resigning, you have to pay huge compensation, and all the losses of the company. The Overlord scolded Xia Shuling, but not only did she not repent, but she hated Mo Fei even more. So Xia Shuling was designing the costume. The competition maliciously commented on Morphy's work, her design concept is not mature enough, but she just blindly emphasizes the beauty of the concept. Xia Shuling's comments directly affected the judge's judgment, and Fang Xiaoyu secretly erased the high score that should have been played. Instead, he gave Murphy the lowest score of the game. Not only that, she repeated Xia Shuling's comment, which made Morphy a little uncomfortable. Although he finally reached the final, he finished in last place. Morphy walked out of the company building in despair, but he was stopped by Fang Xiaoyu. Fang Xiaoyu asked, "Are you still angry?" Morphy said, "I'm not angry." Fang Xiaoyu said, "Aren't you angry? Then let's go, I'll take you back." Morphy said, "It's okay, no, my house is quite close to here, just walk back by yourself." Fang Xiaoyu has always liked Morphy, but the reason why she scored low today, it is not aimed at the rival overlord, but hopes that Murphy can create with his heart. Fang Xiaoyu didn't want her to deliberately show off her skills for the sake of the game. Morphy seemed to be touched after hearing this, so she agreed to Fang Xiaoyu's request to send her home. But I didn't expect this scene to be seen by the boss. The domineering president never expected that the girl he was thinking about would get into someone else's car. Looking at the provocative smile of his rival, the boss was like a knife, but he could only watch the two leave. And the assistant beside him did not forget to mend the knife. Brother Xian, Mr. Fang took it away for her. The boss became even more angry after hearing this. After returning home, he began to take the puppet to vent his emotions. Tonight was destined to be a sleepless night. The overlord tossed and turned, and finally couldn't help but send a message to Morphy, but he waited for a long time without a reply. However, just as the boss was about to go to bed, his cell phone rang suddenly. The boss excitedly picked up the phone to check, but it turned out to be a message from the assistant asking for leave. Early the next morning, the overlord couldn't help but knock on the door of Morphy's house. "I want to know how far she and Fang Xiaoyu have progressed." But Morphy was distracted, thinking that Ba always felt that he was bribing the judges. Morphy quickly explained to him, "I really didn't bribe the judges. If I bribed the director of the party, then how could he give me the lowest score? Sending myself home is also to explain the reason for the low score." After hearing this, the boss was in a good mood instantly, and the bitter melon face also smiled. Immediately afterwards, he began to give Mo Fei lessons again, keeping Mo Fei away from Fang Xiaoyu. The boss said, "That kid is not a good person." The simple Morphy didn't know that the boss was jealous, and he always felt that he was a little strange today. However, it was not only Mr. Ba who made Morphy feel strange, and Fang Xiaoyu who sent her home. As soon as Mo Fei arrived at the company that day, she saw Fang Xiaoyu coming to her with flowers in her hand, and also gave a lot of jewelry. Fang Xiaoyu believes that these things are particularly suitable for the clothing designed by Morphy. However, before Morphy could respond, our overlord suddenly appeared. Mr. Ba said, "As a judge, what do you want to communicate with our designers in private?" Fang Xiaoyu said, "Let's talk about the work, and by the way, let's find my little baby." Mr. Ba said, "Hey, Mr. Fang, don't talk nonsense." Fang Xiaoyu said, "Don't be shy, if you don't like these things, I'll choose some better ones and send them to your house." Fang Xiaoyu was about to leave after speaking, but was blocked by the overlord. Just now her sentence, "Little Morphy," completely igniting the anger that the overlord had suppressed for a long time, he mocked Fang Xiaoyu, "You are the judge of my investment program, and she is the designer I chose. The elevator that sent you up just now, including the 153,800 square meter Mingyuan building you are stepping on under your feet, all belongs to me, Tang Mingxian. I would like to ask you, Fang Xiaoyu, which thing does this belong to you? Do you know that the reason why you can live 3,000 games in Shanghai is because of my acquiescence? If it weren't for my nod, let me tell you, you wouldn't even be able to enter the gate of Mingyuan building." Mr. Ba can be described as a jewel in every word, and he directly left Fang Xiaoyu speechless, stunned the melon-eating masses who watched the excitement. In this game, Fang Xiaoyu was at a disadvantage and could only turn around and leave awkwardly. The overlord scolded, "Did I spend money to invite you to come and watch the play?" After scolding the employees who were watching the excitement, he stopped Morphy, who wanted to escape. If nothing else, it's time for the overlord to confess to Morphy next. As expected, the overlord took Mo Fei to the rooftop, blaming her for getting too close to Fang Xiaoyu and not taking her reminder to heart. After hearing this, Morphy cried out for injustice. Today, it was Fang Xiaoyu who came by herself, but the boss's behavior today embarrassed her and made all the employees watch the joke. It is even more unreasonable to accuse the hegemony. The boss said, "I'm unreasonable. Have you ever listened to me carefully?" Morphy said, "I listen carefully to you every day and every night." The boss said, "Can you care about my feelings?" Morphy said, "When have you been listening to me every day and night?" The overlord said, "No. Who heard that you were going to Suzhou the next day and left all your schedule to find you? Who waited for you at the station gate for more than an hour because they were worried that you would not find a car? Morphe understood everything instantly after hearing this. It turned out that the boss was his loyal fan. Now that the words have come to this point, the boss has decided not to hide anymore. He didn't want to be like a year again, let alone insomnia until the morning light appeared. In the face of the domineering president's true confession, can Murphy accept it? How humble is the love of the 100 billion president? After failing to confess to the poor girl, the boss was so heartbroken that he could only leave in despair. Looking at the back of the overlord going away, Morphe froze in place. I can't help but think back to the bits and pieces of being with the boss. At this time, Morphe reacted. Did I confess to the domineering president? The nervous Morphe quickly put the matter behind him and focused all his energy on the next costume design competition. But she didn't know that the boss's confession to her made some people jealous. Xia Shuling has always regarded herself as the wife of the boss, and she naturally couldn't tolerate this kind of thing, so she tampered with the costume design competition, making Morphe, who should have won the championship, the penultimate one. Afterwards, Mo Fei hid in the background and was sad, so Feng Xiaoyu ran over to comfort her and thoughtfully sent Mo Fei home. The overlord, who was late because of something, could only watch the two leave. Murphy was in a very bad mood. She hung up the phone from the boss countless times, and finally turned off the phone directly. And the overlord was not discouraged, and silently guarded downstairs at Morphe's house. Early the next morning, Morphe, who was just about to go out, saw the boss, and only then did she know that the boss had been waiting all night. Murphy suddenly felt a pang of guilt, but he could only express his gratitude to the boss. The boss said, "What you need now is not to say thank you to me, but to believe me. Believe me, as long as I am by your side, I can help you deal with it all." After saying that, Mr. Ba returned to the car, took out the tools that Morphe had left in the background. Morphe was instantly moved. These tools had already developed feelings for himself, and they could not be bought with money. Show up only when you need it, and silently guard when you don't. The overlord gave all his tenderness to Morphe. Morphe, be happy. Although Morphe was the last in the game, she also named her boss to sign Morphe to the company. Feng Xiaoyu's way of pursuing love is obviously different from that of the boss. His personality is more straightforward, and he will boldly express his likes. Feng Xiaoyu said, "Otherwise, you will be my girlfriend, right?" Morphe was stunned when she heard this. She looked up at Feng Xiaoyu, and only saw cynicism on his face. Maybe Morphe herself doesn't know. In fact, her heart has long been full of overlords. Feng Xiaoyu, who failed to confess, just walked out of Morphe's studio, but unexpectedly met the boss. When rivals meet, they are extremely jealous. The boss warned Feng Xiaoyu not to get close to Morphe anymore. As a result, he was ridiculed by Feng Xiaoyu. "Do you know her?" "I know her better than you do, and I feel like I'm better suited to her. And I'm not happy with you because you hurt my sister, so I don't want you to hurt Morphe again." It turned out that the boss and Feng Xiaoyu's sister were once a couple. Maybe because of the personality incompatibility, the boss chose to break up, which also made Feng Xiaoyu hate the boss. Although there is an irregular contradiction between the two, they all have true feelings for Morphe, depending on which of the two chases her first. At this time, Mo Fei was still recalling Feng Xiaoyu's confession, and after hearing the footsteps, he thought that Feng Xiaoyu was back. Morphe said, "Our director, if you are so boring, help me add some water." The boss said, "Who will let you add water?" He could smell the vinegar smell on the boss's body across the screen, and he questioned Morphe, accused Mo Fei of not getting too close to Feng Xiaoyu, and even asked her to make her clear and decisively reject Feng Xiaoyu's courtship. The domineering president is indeed domineering, but Morphe doesn't eat his set. Mo Fei said, "Mr. Tang, then in what capacity are you talking about me now? What kind of friends do I make?" The original text here is incomplete, keep it as it is. Even a domineering president with a net worth of hundreds of millions will have low self-esteem in the face of love. The more he wanted to hold on desperately, but Morphe slipped uncontrollably through his fingers like quicksand. Compared with the boss, Feng Xiaoyu seems to understand Morphe better, and the two always have endless topics to talk about together. Feng Xiaoyu admired Morphe's talent very much and hoped that she could change jobs to her own company. "We can give you the best treatment for whatever we want." Morphe said, "Thank you, I'm not interested." The two were chatting passionately here, but the boss was anxious enough. He called Morphe for a day, but no one answered. Seeing this, Xia Shuling took out Feng Xiaoyu's circle of friends, so that the boss understood that she was worthy of his love. Seeing that Mo Fei and Feng Xiaoyu were so close, the overlord pretended to be calm. After suppressing the anger in his heart and pushing Xia Shuling away, he couldn't hold back anymore. Finally got through to Morphe's phone, but he had a tone of questioning. "You are the head of the department that Master Li is responsible for docking with our Mingyuan, understand? It is necessary to keep the phone open 24 hours a day." The overlord crackled and said a lot, which made Morphe angry enough. Although I negotiate cooperation with the boss on behalf of the master, I also need a break, and no one can work 24 hours a day. After hearing this, the boss instantly softened. Have you eaten? Morphe said, I've eaten. Eat well, thank you. The boss said, should you tell me what you ate and who you ate with? The domineering president is still so domineering, but Morphe doesn't eat this set. She reported today's itinerary to the boss with a violent mood, and then hung up the phone. The overlord was immediately stunned, but he also enjoys this kind of small fight. After that, the two resumed their previous ambiguous relationship and chatted until late at night every day. However, just when everything is good, the accident comes suddenly. On this day, Morphe followed her boss to participate in the designer exchange meeting. It was originally a great thing, but the topic discussed by Fang Xiaoyu and Xia Shuling made Mo Fei stunned directly. Fang Xiaoyu asked, where is Tang Mingxian? Xia Shuling said, he went on a business trip to Nanjing. Fang Xiaoyu said, you two are like conjoined babies every day, inseparable, awkward. Xia Shuling said, no, he will come back later. Fang Xiaoyu said, isn't this the fact that the classmates got married some time ago? The red envelopes are all wrapped, when will you two? It turned out that Mr. Ba and Xia Shuling grew up together, and Mr. Ba's mother had already made a private agreement for the two of them for life. But what Morphe didn't know was that this was all wishful thinking on the part of the old man, and the boss didn't accept it at all. Unaware of it, Mo Fei made an excuse to leave the venue, but Xia Shuling did not give up. She pretended to send Mo Fei home. As a result, he drove the car to Mr. Ba's house. Xia Shuling was like a hostess, enthusiastically introducing Mr. Mo Fei's mother. Mr. Ba's mother said, what a beautiful little girl, and talented. Morphe said, Auntie, should I go home to eat some fruit? Xia Shuling said, it's okay, I'll just wait here. Mr. Ba's mother said, no, since you are a friend of Mingxian and Shuling, you are my guest, let's go. Morphe couldn't refuse the enthusiasm of the boss's mother, so she had to go to the house as a guest, but soon she regretted it. The boss's mother did not shy away from her love for Xia Shuling and also bought them couple underwear. Obviously Xia Shuling's daughter-in-law's position is irreplaceable, which made Mo Fei on the side extremely embarrassed. When he got home at night, Mo Fei couldn't sleep at all, recalling the attitude of the boss's mother towards Xia Shuling. She knew that she and the boss could not be together at all. On this day, Morphe received an admission letter from his family's squatting university, and after doing enough ideological struggle, Morphe decided to leave here to study abroad. Before leaving, she wanted to see the boss, but he was stopped by Xia Shuling and said that the overlord was busy with a meeting. Seeing this, Mo Fei had to take out the employee pass and ask Xia Shuling to help transfer it to Mr. Ba. Looking at Mo Fei's back as she left, Xia Shuling suddenly breathed a sigh of relief, but she never expected it. The boss accidentally got the news from his sister's mouth. The overlord panicked instantly. He knew that once Morphe left, the fate of the two would be completely over. At this time, Morphe was looking back 3 times in one step, looking forward to the appearance of the boss. Maybe it's fate. The overlord finally arrived at the last moment. Morphe didn't want to destroy other people's happiness and could only quit the love game. But she didn't know that the marriage contract between the two was just the wishful thinking of the old man, and the boss did not accept it at all. The unaware Morphe also sent blessings against his will. Mo Fei said, childhood sweethearts, golden boys and girls, lovers eventually get married. Morphe said, I'm really happy for you. Obviously knowing that Morphe was a misunderstanding, the boss did not explain. He took out the little puppet prince and gave it to Morphe, and asked Morphe to keep it with him. As long as he saw it, he would think of himself. Although Morphe couldn't understand the boss's riotous operation, but he still thanked him. Thank you for seeing me off, goodbye. The boss said, academic success. The two who were obviously in love could only say goodbye like ordinary friends. Morphe looked at the little prince in her hand and couldn't help but recall the bits and pieces of the two together, but she could only bury this love in her heart. After arriving abroad, Morphe began to work hard. She went to school during the day and went to work in a restaurant at night, although she was very tired, but she also lived a fulfilling life. But in the dead of night, she still can't help but think of Mr. Ba. And the life of the boss is not easy, and looking at Morphe's circle of friends seems to have become his only pleasure. He wanted to explain his relationship with Xia Shuling to Morphe many times, but he couldn't say it when it came to his lips. Just when the overlord hesitated, his rival Fang Xiaoyu ran over. It turned out that after she learned that Morphe had gone abroad, she immediately booked a plane ticket. Came to the boss to deliberately show off to him, I'll go to the airport in a while. If you have anything you want to say to Morphe, say that I will help you send a message. The boss said, you don't need to send a message, and you are not the only one who has a mouth. The boss pretended not to care, but only he knew the pain in his heart. And Fang Xiaoyu came abroad, so he looked for Morphe everywhere. the emperor paid off, and the two finally met on the romantic streets of Paris. Mo Fei was very surprised by the appearance of Fang Xiaoyu, and at the same time felt a little disappointed, because the person who came was not the boss. Fang Xiaoyu took Morphe to walk around the streets and alleys of Paris, talking and laughing, like a couple in love. But the reality is so ruthless, and Murphy refuses his courtship without hesitation. But Fang Xiaoyu did not give up. In order to see Mo Fei every day, he lived next door to Morphe, wanting to use time to win her heart. But Fang Xiaoyu's deep love can only be the catalyst for the love between the boss and Mo Fei. Our straight male bully is always reminded by the assistant. Finally reacted. The assistant said, according to my judgment, Morphe is definitely eating Xia Shuling's vinegar. Think about it, Director Xia is such an excellent woman, right? She is by your side every day, and she will be jealous of whoever she puts, all jealous. The overlord left everything behind for love and immediately came abroad to find Morphe. Perhaps it was fateful fate. The overlord saw Morphe being stopped as soon as he arrived abroad. I saw Morphe constantly retreating. Moments of crisis. The overlord turned into a superhero, and directly came to save the beauty, and beat the gangster away in 2 or 3 strokes. Since ancient times, beauties have loved heroes, and now it is no exception. Looking at Morphe's concerned eyes, the boss thought it was all worth it. Mr. Ba came abroad to visit Murphy, but she found that her rival had come out of the apartment where she lived. Fang Xiaoyu said, are you still waiting for my little Morphe? She went to school, didn't she tell you? I now live next door. The rival was extremely jealous when he met, and the boss grabbed Fang Xiaoyu's collar and warned him to stay away from Morphe. But Fang Xiaoyu didn't eat this set, saying that as long as Morphe was not married, he would chase him to the end. The overlord felt the crisis, and this time he finally stopped wanting to capture the old man, and confessed his heart directly to Mo Fei. Is it in your heart? Do you think I like Xia Shuling? Morphe said, isn't it? The boss said, this has always been a knot in your heart. The boss said, but today I will explain it to you clearly. The boss said that he and Xia Shuling are just friends, although the two grew up together, but he only regards her as a sister, and he is only a partner at work, that's all. The boss hopes that Morphe can believe in himself. Don't pay attention to the words of those around you. I really want to tell you that I like you. After the overlord confessed, he hugged Morphe's little brain, and then kissed him. And Morphe was also full of circles on his face, and it wasn't until the overlord disappeared that Morphe reacted. Morphe said to himself, he just kissed me. When Morphe returned home, he found a surprise again. The entire corridor had been covered with neon lights by the boss, moving the romance that should belong to the fairy tale to reality. The eldest sister of the neighbor couldn't help but praise Ba for always being a good man. If he was a few years younger, will definitely compete with Morphe for this favor. After joking, the eldest sister handed the letter left by the boss to Morphe. I can't guarantee that every day you spend in Paris will be a surprise, but I hope these lights will brighten up your every night, the letter said. Morphe danced excitedly. It turns out he likes me. Recalling the scene of kissing the boss, Murphy knew that he was not dreaming. In this way, the two began a long-distance relationship that was 108,000 miles apart. The overlord will say some earthy love words every day, which makes Morphe happy. But this caused Xia Shuling's dissatisfaction. She and Ba were always childhood sweethearts, and she had waited for him for so many years. Xia Shuling hopes that the boss can give an explanation. After hearing this, the overlord did not give a promise, and even asked Xia Shuling not to make things difficult for Morphe. The two broke up unhappily, but Xia Shuling was unwilling to lose to Morphe. She couldn't help but call Morphe, Morphe, I know you have always had some ideas about Ming Xian, but I want to tell you, please use your ideas on other men. Xia Shuling issued a soul warning to Morphe, not to think that the toad would eat swan meat. The boss is not a man she can climb high at all. Not only that, Xia Shuling also emphasized her importance. The marriage of the two will directly affect the development of the boss, and Mo Fei has no role other than causing trouble to the boss. Xia Shuling hoped that Mo Fei would not ruin the boss and ruin his company because of his momentary stupidity. Xia Shuling said a lot of words, but Mo Fei was speechless with just one sentence. If I were you, I wouldn't make this phone call at all. Because a confident enough person does not need to bluff at all. The two women have completely tied the beam. Although Morphe won a game, he felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, and he really did not help the boss's career. The boss seemed to hear Morphe's unhappiness. He left everything in the company behind, traveled thousands of miles to visit Morphe, and made a vow on the shore of Westlake that no matter what obstacles he encountered, his feelings for her would not change. Morphe laughed from ear to ear after hearing this. But just when the two were about to find a place to rest, but I met the gangster who was taught a lesson by the boss last time. Seeing this, the overlord could only run away with Morphe, but the gangster chased after him. At the critical moment, Fang Xiaoyu made a move, but was beaten by the two of them. Looking at Fang Xiaoyu lying on a hospital bed, Mo Fei felt extremely guilty. She wanted to stay and take care of Fang Xiaoyu, but was forcibly dragged away by the overlord. If it weren't for Fang Xiaoyu's righteous action, it might be the two of them who were injured, and it was only natural for him to stay and take care of him. But the overlord thought that Morphe did not take into account his feelings. The two were originally in a long-distance relationship, and Fang Xiaoyu was wandering around her all day long, so the overlord would inevitably think too much in his heart. He hoped that Morphe could think about it, but he didn't expect to annoy Morphe. Morphe said, "I think you just don't trust me. If that's the case, Xia Shuling works next to you, and I'm not happy either." The boss said, "I am a colleague with Shuling, why did you pull her out?" Mo Fei said, "Then Fang Xiaoyu and I are just friends." In order to save Mo Fei from serious injuries, perhaps out of guilt, Mo Fei took care of him in the hospital for a few days. After Fang Xiaoyu was discharged from the hospital, Mo Fei would occasionally help him order takeout. Now Fang Xiaoyu's hands and feet are still a little unfavorable, but Morphe didn't know that all this was pretended by Fang Xiaoyu. The purpose was to gain her sympathy and take the opportunity to stay with Morphe for more time. The silly Morphe didn't know that he had been fooled, and enthusiastically helped Fang Xiaoyu study the draft. And the overlord traveled thousands of miles to visit Mo Fei abroad, just to surprise her. The boss knocked on the door of Morphe's apartment, and the good girlfriend would not lie and told the boss that Morphe went next door. The president of 100 billion traveled thousands of miles to see his girlfriend, but the person who opened the door was a handsome and dashing man who looked like a monkey. The overlord froze in place for a moment. Not long ago, the two had just made a vow of love on the edge of Westlake, but they didn't expect their girlfriend to betray them so quickly. President Ba's heart was like a knife. Mo Fei explained that he was just here to deliver bowls to Fang Xiaoyu, but Mr. Ba didn't believe it at all. In the middle of the night, a man and a woman are together, and anyone will think about it. Seeing the boss turn around and leave, Mo Fei hurriedly chased out to explain, but Fang Xiaoyu dragged her to death and didn't let go. Fang Xiaoyu said, "Why?" Mo Fei said, "No, I will." Mo Fei said, "Fang Xiaoyu, you are too much." At this time, Morphe also understood that she had been deceived, but it was too late, and by the time she ran out, there was no trace of the boss outside. Mo Fei couldn't help but be sad, but her best friend not only didn't comfort her, but also blamed Mo Fei for getting too close to Fang Xiaoyu, and it would be good if the boss didn't break up with her. Morphe asked, "Is it so serious?" My best friend said, "It's not a serious question, let me tell you this." The girlfriend said, "Think about it from the perspective of others. If you are always in China, you want to return to China to surprise him, and then you return to China and find that his childhood sweetheart is with him. Are you angry?" At this time, Morphe also realized his mistake. She sent a voice apology to the boss, but there was no response on the phone after waiting for a long time. Her best friend advised her to take the initiative to meet with Mr. Ba and explain things clearly. Don't wait for people to return to China in a few days. She has no place to cry. Morphe took action immediately after hearing this. At this time, the overlord was still angry and didn't give Morphe a good face at all. Seeing this, Morphe started to think crookedly, but he didn't expect that the boss would not cooperate at all. The boss asked, "What are you going to do?" All it takes is a kiss to easily resolve the conflict between couples, and if it can't be resolved, then keep kissing. The two reconciled again and regained their previous sweetness. The overlord also bought a big flower basket for Morphe, but what was inside was not flowers, but the boss's full of love. When Morphe returned home, she couldn't sleep, and her head was full of pictures of her kissing the boss, and her joy was beyond words. Morphe picked up his phone. On his own radio, he made a promise of love. "I like him, I want to be with him, no matter what difficulties I encounter, I will not waver." Hearing Mo Fei's message, the boss felt a little uncomfortable. The two have been in love for so long, and he has never posted on Moments. Because he knew that once he made an official announcement, he would cause endless trouble. After doing enough ideological struggle, the overlord still sent out the photos of the two. Sure enough, some people are happy and some are angry. After the boss's mother learned of the situation, immediately called his son home, and also called his daughter-in-law. The boss also knew what his mother meant. He wanted to find out his relationship with Morphe, but his mother always changed the topic and pulled Xia Shuling and began to greet him. Obviously, the position of the daughter-in-law is irreplaceable. The boss endured the grievances and finished eating, and when he sent Xia Shuling out, the boss wanted to make it clear to her, but Xia Shuling made an excuse that she was tired and ran away in a hurry. She is escaping reality in this way. But the boss couldn't help but have a showdown with his mother. It means that in this life, only Morphe is needed. As a result, she was naturally strongly rejected by her mother, believing that her son would have a bright future only with Xia Shuling. Mr. Ba said, "Childhood sweethearts, know the roots, and grew up together since childhood. Okay, then can I marry too?" The boss originally wanted to make a joke, but unexpectedly angered his mother and directly slapped the boss. The mother even accused her son of being ungrateful and failing Xia Shuling's efforts for so many years. The boss was depressed, but he didn't dare to talk back to his mother. Xia Shuling, who returned home, could only hiding on the stairs and crying secretly. I have been with Mr. Ba for more than 20 years, but I can't compare to the yellow-haired girl who has only known me for a few days. Xia Shuling was unwilling to lose to Morphe. She wanted the boss to understand that she was the woman he couldn't live without. In order to reflect one's own importance, Xia Shuling directly began to rot. Mr. Ba asked, "I've been quite tired from work lately, right?" Xia Shuling said, "I'm not tired." The boss said, "It's time for you to take a break. Haven't you always wanted to go to Switzerland?" Xia Shuling took her generals on vacation, but the boss was so anxious that he turned around. Her disappearance directly led to the inability of the entire design department to work. This can seriously affect the normal functioning of the company. The overlord understood that Xia Shuling was playing with him, but he didn't know that he was the originator of the game. Mr. Ba said, "From now on, all Director Xia's work will be sent to my office." At this time, Xia Shuling was enjoying a hot spring vacation, and she guessed that the boss would be very busy, and then asked herself to go back to preside over the overall situation. But it backfired, and the overlord only took half a day to deal with her mess. And on the way home, he made phone porridge with Morphe, flirted and said goodnight to each other. Early the next morning, the boss found Xia Shuling. Xia Shuling was overjoyed, but she couldn't laugh in the next second, because the boss not only didn't ask her to go back, instead, she was fired from the company. Xia Shuling was instantly stunned. She didn't expect the boss to become so ruthless, and it all started when she met Morphe. Xia Shuling said, "You only have Morphe in your eyes and heart, and you abandoned me for that woman." Xia Shuling said, "Why is she your girlfriend? Does she know you? Does she know what you need? Can she help you? Let me tell you, the only one who can help you in your career is me, don't you understand?" At this time, Xia Shuling was still emphasizing her importance, but Mr. Ba didn't eat this at all. Although Xia Shuling is very important to the company, the overlord never fights an uncertain battle, and he has long had a candidate. Xia Shuling finally couldn't sit still after hearing this, and she begged the boss not to let herself leave the company. "Forgive yourself for being willful." After hearing this, the overlord's heart also softened. After all, the two grew up together, and he didn't want to completely erase this friendship. The overlord handed over the choice to Xia Shuling. Whether to go or stay is up to you. Take this time to take a good rest, calm down, and think about it carefully. That's all I can say. After the overlord left, Xia Shuling broke down and cried, thinking that she had a chance to win, but the result was a complete defeat. Soon Tang Mingxian recruited a designer who was on par with Xue Ling. In fact, as early as when he was in France, Mingxian began to look for it, because he knew that he had to be prepared for anything. What's even more coincidental is that the new designer Cheng Yang is actually Morphe's senior brother and the boyfriend of Morphe's roommate. So it didn't take long. Cheng Yang took advantage of Morphe's holiday to find her to be a temporary assistant to him. But in order to surprise Mingxian, Morphe did not tell him in advance. So when Mo Fei suddenly appeared in front of Mingxian, Tang Mingxian obviously felt himself's heart skipped a beat. They couldn't suppress the longing in their hearts and couldn't help but hug each other. The domineering president and his girlfriend were chatting with each other in the office, but they were unexpectedly seen by their childhood sweetheart Xia Shuling. Seeing the intimate appearance of the two, Xia Shuling was jealous. "Mr. Tang, don't you know this is an office?" The boss said, "Got it. What you can't get is always in turmoil, and what you are favored is fearless." Seeing Xia Shuling leave angrily, Mo Fei thought that he had caused trouble for the boss. But the boss didn't care, and said that he had explained it to Xia Shuling. "I can only be a partnership with her." The overlord gave all the tenderness to Mo Fei, but Xia Shuling was unwilling to be abandoned like this, and she secretly vowed in her heart that she would definitely snatch the overlord back. But at this moment, the bad news came from his employees. The employee said, "Cheng Yang has a new assistant, my college classmate Mo Fei." Xia Shuling froze in place for an instant after hearing this, which was tantamount to a bolt from the blue. If Morphe and the boss are tired of being together, where else does she have a chance to start? In order to achieve her own goal, Xia Shuling wanted to drive Mo Fei away from the boss on the grounds that she couldn't have an office romance. The company can't fall in love. If you have to talk about it, you must go on. Xia Shuling wanted to give Morphe a dismissal, but things exceeded her expectations. Morphe didn't care at all after hearing this. "Although the company's regulations cannot be changed, I am only a temporary worker, and there is no clause in the contract that prohibits me from falling in love." Xia Shuling was so angry that she thought that Morphe didn't take herself seriously at all. And not only that, the two did not deal with each other at work, and Mo Fei insisted on supporting the design concept of her best friend's boyfriend, singing the opposite tune with Xia Shuling. This made Xia Shuling feel very faceless, so after the meeting was adjourned, she left Morphe to talk. As a temporary assistant, what qualifications do you have to give opinions? Morphe said, I think as long as you are an employee of Mingyuan, it is okay to make good suggestions for the company. Xia Shuling said, do I need you to guide me on how to work? Morphe said, then I don't dare. Xia Shuling said, you don't dare. I think you are about to take my place. What's going on? Do you really think of yourself as the boss's wife? Morphe was instantly unhappy after hearing this. Thinks that Xia Shuling is avenging her private revenge and deliberately targets herself. Xia Shuling did not shy away from it, confessing that she was targeting her, and asked Morphe to leave quickly after receiving her salary. In the face of Xia Shuling's difficulties, Mo Fei said that he was Qingyang who came to help. Xia Shuling has no right to fire her. Mo Fei replied unceremoniously, but this made Xia Shuling so angry that she didn't believe that she couldn't clean up Mo Fei, a temporary worker. Xia Shuling, who was sick and went to the doctor, actually found the boss and asked to kick Morphe out of the company. But how could the boss agree to her request? He is the assistant invited by Qingyang, and the company has regulations, and he can freely choose an assistant. If you say that you have to fire Morphe, then I'm afraid he is the only one in our company who has this right. After hearing this, Xia Shuling came to Qingyang again. Jumping up and down is as annoying as the monkeys in Mount Amei, and the result is naturally rejected. And Qingyang also said that if Xia Shuling insists on firing Morphe, then he will not serve. Seeing this, the overlord became a good old man, which made both sides discouraged. But Xia Shuling didn't appreciate it. Okay, you are all in the same group, then I'll go. Their quarrel was heard by Morphe at the door. Ming Xian comforted her that she didn't have to take it to heart. Obviously Mo Fei had made Xueling lose her mind. But what I didn't expect was that Morphe's plastic sister Shen Jiaxi actually ran over to mend the knife and apologized for Mo Fei inexplicably. I really don't know what kind of green onion she is. The enemy of the enemy is a friend. Xia Shuling saw that Shen Jiaxi and Mo Fei had a grudge, so she made a plan and praised her a few words. Prepare for her in the future. And Shen Jiaxi, a fool, actually thought that Xia Shuling really appreciated her. Since then, Xia Shuling has made things difficult for Qingyang's design department everywhere, and even deliberately delayed the distribution of fabrics. Mo Fei was not convinced, but Xueling found various excuses to prevaricate her. Even sarcastically, Mo Fei doesn't rely on being Mr. Tang's girlfriend, so he doesn't know the height of the sky. Mo Fei was really too lazy to quarrel with her, but she was reluctant. People who want to marry Mingxian have already been lined up from Mingyuan to the Wampu River, so I advise you to get to know each other. At this point, Morphe didn't want to get used to her. Even if I marry Mr. Tang tomorrow, that's my business, and it has nothing to do with you. I don't need to explain this to anyone. After Mo Fei scolded her domineeringly, she found that Tang Mingxian happened to come in. Mo Fei felt a little guilty in an instant. She thought Tang Mingxian was angry, so she cringed and apologized to him. Unexpectedly, Tang Mingxian was not only not angry, but was seriously considering Morphe's words. Tang Mingxian said, our parents will meet first, and then go to buy a house on Sunday, and get married next month, and he will hold our wedding. Morphe was instantly frightened by his seriousness. Mingxian hugged Mo Fei, and he told Mo Fei that no matter what happened, he will firmly believe in Morphe and will always be here waiting for her. The trust of a lover is always a woman's greatest confidence. However, although they are stronger than gold, reality will always make a little joke with them from time to time. Fang Qian actually came back. Fang Qian, who had been missing for 3 years, suddenly came back and suffered from a malignant brain tumor, which made Fang Xiaoyu difficult to accept. The moment Tang Mingxian received the call, it was like a bolt from the blue, and he had to lie to Morphe that the company had urgent official business. Then one person rushed to the hospital. When he saw Fang Qian's haggard and painful appearance, boundless guilt and sourness welled up in his heart. He felt that it was because he was too resolute and indifferent when he refused to marry that Fang Qian went to Africa in a fit of anger. Because of living in a very harsh environment for a long time, Fang Qian fell ill. In order to make up for the debt in his heart, Tang Mingxian stayed by Fang Qian's side every night. This made Fang Xiaoyu very angry. On the one hand, he didn't want his sister to think of the painful past again. On the other hand, he didn't want Morphe to be hurt. When you care about another woman now, have you ever thought about Morphe's feelings? In fact, Tang Mingxian is so comfortable. On the one hand, he is a sister who grew up together, and on the other hand, he is the girl he loves deeply, and he doesn't want to hurt anyone. So he had to hide it from both sides, not knowing that this concealment would only complicate the problem. This day happened to be the 200th anniversary of Mingxian and Mo Fei's acquaintance, and he came to Mo Fei early in the morning and not only prepared gifts for her. I also planned to go out to dinner with her. However, just as Mingxian was waiting downstairs, he suddenly received a call from the hospital, so he had to leave Morphe behind and rush to the hospital. When I arrived at the hospital, I found out that Fang Qian was unwilling to have surgery. She was completely blind, but she still showed off in front of Ming Xian and refused to show her fragile side, which made Ming Xian feel even more guilty. Morphe, who was released with pigeons here, was very disappointed, so she had to make an appointment with a friend to go shopping. When I got home at night, I saw Fang Xiaoyu's car. Fang Xiaoyu looked desperate, and Mo Fei had to chat with him. She advised Fang Xiaoyu to remain optimistic and believe in medicine. But Fang Xiaoyu was emotionally disappointed. Seeing that it was getting late, Morphe was afraid of causing unnecessary misunderstandings, so she wanted to go home early. Fang Xiaoyu didn't want to hide it anymore. Do you know, what is Tang Mingxian doing when you are eating Odin? Fang Xiaoyu once again reminded Mo Fei to be careful of Mingxian, but Mo Fei unswervingly believed in his loved one. Fang Xiaoyu collapsed instantly, and he decided to take Morphe to the hospital. Mo Fei only thought that Fang Xiaoyu was crazy, and the two had a fierce quarrel. Morphe said, "What the hell do you have to do, not mess around?" Fang Xiaoyu said, "Am I like I'm messing around?" Morphe said, "What the hell can I do to get rid of your entanglement with me?" Fang Xiaoyu said, "I'm entangled with you." Fang Xiaoyu fainted for a moment and hit an obstacle on the side of the road. However, even at this time, Fang Xiaoyu was worried about Morphe first. Mo Fei covered her injured forehead and got out of the car in a hurry, and now she was completely disappointed with her other party, Xiaoyu. Fang Xiaoyu could no longer control her feelings. "I like you," Morphe said, "but I don't like you." Fang Xiaoyu slapped the car frantically. Why did fate play tricks on an infatuated lover so much? In fact, even if Fang Xiaoyu doesn't deliberately expose all this, there will be a day when paper can't contain the fire. When Morphe was inspecting the show, the steel pipe on the shelf suddenly fell. In order to protect the dewdrops, Morphe was hit in the head by a steel pipe, and not only had several stitches, but also had a slight concussion, so the doctor recommended that Morphe be hospitalized for observation. In order not to worry Ming Xian, Morphe did not tell him. What Mo Fei didn't expect was that she accidentally met Ming Xuan's ex-girlfriend Fang Qian. The two people hit it off at first sight without knowing each other's identities. It's very close. Mo Fei's liveliness and cheerfulness deeply infected Fang Qian, and the two soon became good friends who talked about everything. Fang Qian listened to Morphe's radio every night, and Morphe encouraged her, "Before I jumped into the fire, it was my worst time. If I have the opportunity to be reborn, why should I be afraid of death?" Morphe's words finally aroused Fang Qian's desire to survive, and she decided to bravely undergo surgery. The operation time is set after Fang Qian's birthday. In order to celebrate Fang Qian's birthday, Fang Xiaoyu held a birthday party for her sister, and the first person Fang Qian invited was Mo Fei. Morphe happily came with a gift, but an embarrassing scene occurred. Morphe said, "Happy birthday." When a familiar voice sounded in her ears, Mo Fei slowly turned her head, only to see Tang Mingxian walking with a gift. Fang Qian said, "He is the person I told you." At this moment, Fang Qian's words all came to mind, and it turned out that Alice's Chinese name was Fang Qian. Morphe couldn't accept it for a while, so she had to run away in a hurry. Ming Xian chased after him and tried to explain, but at this time all the excuses were pale. "It is unforgivable to hide from your girlfriend and a girl who likes you." Morphe returned home alone in despair, but met Lu Zhu, who was dating Mo Fan. The two of them were very distressed when they saw Morphe crying sadly. Then Mo Fei asked about Fang Qian and Ming Xian, and Lu Zhu had to tell Mo Fei about their past. Only then did Morphe realize that there was no love between them. At the beginning, it was Ming Xuan's mother who arranged the marriage and went to Fang's house to propose marriage privately, but Ming Xian flatly refused to marry. In fact, Mo Fei didn't believe that Ming Xian was the one who stepped on two boats. She just blamed Ming Xian for not confessing. Was she so untrustworthy? At this time, Mo Fei had already lost more than half of her anger. She opened her mobile phone and saw countless unread messages. It turned out that Ming Xian was on her way there, and 20 minutes later she got downstairs from Mo Fei's house. I thought that the misunderstanding would be resolved soon, but Ming Xian suddenly received a message from the company. There was an emergency in the company and he needed to rush back to deal with it. This is the price of falling in love with a good man. He always has a lot of more important things to do. Love is only a small part of his life. Morphe didn't wait for Ming Xian. She returned to the room extremely disappointed, opened her phone but saw a domineering message. "I think we all need to calm down. Call me when you are angry." At this time, Morphe was so angry that he was smoking. The next few days, both were in the midst of a cold war. Mo Fei couldn't help but ask Qingyang for advice on how to deal with her boyfriend, and Qingyang did not hesitate to teach her girlfriend's trick. Don't pay attention to him. The more you care, the more energetic you become. The two were chatting hotly. Unexpectedly, Tang Mingxian suddenly appeared, and Qingyang was suddenly frightened and incoherent, so he had to hurry away. Mo Fei was taught by Qingyang and decided to snub Tang Mingxian for a while. I don't know that if there is a misunderstanding between the couple, it should be resolved as soon as possible, otherwise the misunderstanding will only get deeper and deeper. The girl was stunned when she looked back, but she didn't expect that her beloved boyfriend was dating another woman at this time. The girl's heart was like a knife, but she didn't dare to ask her boyfriend questions. Looking at the love breakfast in her hand, the girl could only turn around and leave disappointed. Delicious beef broth is served with raw fried buns, but Morphe is like chewing wax. But what she didn't know was that this was all Xia Shuling's conspiracy, the purpose of which was to destroy the relationship between Morphe and the boss. Just when the boss was holding a meeting with the employees, he could see at a glance that Morphe was unhappy, so he called her out to talk. The overlord hugged Morphe in his arms and admitted his mistake. Morphe asked, "What's wrong with you?" The boss said, "My fault is that I love you in the way I think is right, completely ignoring all your feelings." The overlord sincerely apologized to Morphe, but Morphe was indifferent. Seeing this, the boss kissed her directly, and then gave her a warm hug. This is definitely the best way to coax your girlfriend. Brothers and sisters quickly took out a small notebook and recorded it. Sure enough, after this operation, Morphe was no longer angry. However, she made a request to the boss, hoping that when the two had conflicts in the future, the boss could coax herself as soon as possible. This request is simply not too reasonable, but our overlord refused. Morphe asked, "Why?" The boss said, "Because there is no next time." I have to say that the boss is also a master of flirting, making Morphe smile and even take the initiative to kiss. The two reconciled again. But just when everything was good, the accident came suddenly. The new products that the head office is about to release were plagiarized and released by the opponent, which is tantamount to a bolt from the blue for the boss. He doesn't care how much money he loses, because it's just a string of numbers, but the boss can't help but worry about the company's reputation. What makes the boss even more depressed is that the plagiarized product was still designed by Morphe and his group. The overlord said, "We have been preparing for a big show for so long, and now it has been plagiarized for no reason, and it is so accurate, there is an insider, right?" This was naturally said to Morphe and designer Cheng Yang, because only they could access this secret. And Xia Shuling also added fuel to the fire when she saw this. Think Morphe is the mole. This pressure gave the boss, on the one hand, the reputation of the company, and the beloved girlfriend on the other. Under pressure, the overlord had to suspend Morphe and Cheng Yang first, before the matter came to light. The two must cooperate with the company's investigation. After the meeting was adjourned, Mr. Ba left the two of them behind. As a designer, your work has been plagiarized before it is released. What is the difference between it and tomorrow you go to the battlefield to fight and lose your gun? The boss scolded the two of them and asked them to write an inspection and hand it over to their direct leaders. Morphe was depressed. She looked at the computer for a long time, stunned, and didn't write a word. "I wanted to send a message to the boss for advice, but I was afraid of being embarrassed." Early the next morning, Morphe handed over the examination to Xia Shuling. But just as she was about to leave, she was stopped by Xia Shuling. Xia Shuling said, "Is it okay to write a check for such an important thing as losing the design drawing?" Morphe said, "Then do you think I don't have enough words, or is my attitude not sincere enough?" Xia Shuling said, "No matter how many words you write, there is no way to make up for the loss suffered by Ming Yuan." Xia Shuling naturally couldn't let go of the opportunity to humiliate Morphe. She had been waiting for the boss for so many years. As a result, Morphe dug up the foot of the wall. Xia Shuling was very unwilling, but she could only find trouble with Morphe at work, thinking that Morphe was unable to stay in the company. Morphe said, "I said Director Xia, why are you targeting me everywhere?" Xia Shuling said, "I didn't target anyone, the answer is already obvious, it's just that Ming Xian doesn't want to face it." Xia Shuling firmly believed that it was a secret leaked by Morphe, but the result was a slap in the face, because the investigation report showed that the plagiarized design drawings were completely consistent with Cheng Yang's browsing records. And it was more than 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, and the trickiness was self-evident. Cheng Yang knew that he was wronged, but he was also speechless at this time. Although the boss admired Cheng Yang's talent, he could only fire Cheng Yang for the sake of the company's reputation. Now everyone believes that Cheng Yang is the culprit, but Morphe firmly believes in his character. Although there is no evidence to prove Cheng Yang's innocence, the unconvinced Morphe found the theory of hegemony. The boss said, "Don't you think you are a little out of line now?" The domineering president was jealous. He unceremoniously scolded Morphe, and the two eventually broke up unhappily. However, just when Morphe was about to leave, he happened to meet his rival Xia Shuling. The two have never dealt with each other, and Xia Shuling will naturally not let go of this opportunity to fall into the trap. She said she had called the police. After all, everyone's time is more precious, and it is more appropriate to leave the case to professionals to solve. Morphe panicked instantly after hearing this. "Give me 5 days, and I will prove Cheng Yang's innocence." Xia Shuling said, "What qualifications do you have to ask me?" Morphe said, "Haven't you always wanted me to leave Ming Yuan? If I don't prove Cheng Yang's innocence within these 5 days, I will roll up and leave." In order to help his friend prove his innocence, Morphe issued a military order to his rival boss, but Xia Shuling only gave her 3 days. Xia Shuling thought that it was impossible for Morphe to find evidence at all, but she slapped her in the face. After seeing the information recorded on the calendar, Morphe immediately found a clue. The original design drawings were lost in time. On the day of the company party, Cheng Yang, who drank too much, was sent to the hotel to rest by Xia Shuling's assistant, and the surveillance video clearly captured the two of them. The loss of the drawings must have something to do with the assistant, but Morphe hesitated because Shen Jiaxi was her classmate and friend. Instead of spreading the news around, Morphe secretly found Shen Jiaxi, hoping that she could take the initiative to confess everything. Shen Jiaxi said, "Morphe, you didn't take medicine, did you? What does it have to do with me losing the blueprint? You said that there is a record of the time I and Qing Yang were together in the surveillance video, so does it record what Qing Yang and I did?" Morphe said, "But at least you are suspicious." Shen Jiaxi said, "Yes, when it comes to suspicion, isn't Qing Yang the most suspicious?" "Oh yes, it seems like you have login permissions too." Shen Jiaxi not only did not admit his crime, but thought that Mo Fei and Qing Yang were in the same breath, and the two colluded to steal the blueprints, and then found themselves to take the blame. Mo Fei was speechless by Shen Jiaxi, but she would definitely investigate the matter to the end. But Shen Jiaxi was not afraid at all. She expected that Mo Fei had no direct evidence. The two broke up unhappily. The former good girlfriend also completely parted ways. But no matter how cunning the fox is, there will be times when it shows its tail. In order to show loyalty to her employer, Shen Jiaxi directly ridiculed Mo Fei. "Yesterday, Mo Fei came over like a fool and questioned me and asked me if I gave you and Haiyao the design drawings. You said that she came here without evidence, isn't it self-inflicted?" Shen Jiaxi became more and more excited, shaking out all the process of committing the crime. The employer couldn't help but praise after hearing this. "Think you're not looking for the wrong person." But what they didn't know was that all this was secretly filmed. Today is the day agreed between Xia Shuling and Mo Fei, and Xia Shuling triumphantly showed off the documents in her hand. This not only means that Qing Yang's career is over, but also that Morphe will leave the company as agreed. Xia Shuling hopes that the boss can recognize the reality. Morphe will only cause him trouble, and she is the treasure that the boss should hold in the palm of his hand. But just when Xia Shuling got carried away, Mo Fei suddenly broke in and handed over her mobile phone to the boss, which was a video of Shen Jiaxi talking to her employer. The overlord breathed a sigh of relief, but Xia Shuling couldn't sit still. She found Shen Jiaxi and scolded her bloody. In the face of conclusive evidence, Shen Jiaxi no longer had the toughness of the past. She knelt down and begged Xia Shuling for mercy, hoping to let herself go. But Xia Shuling had just lost face, so naturally she couldn't forgive her. Next, Shen Jiaxi will wait for legal sanctions. After the plagiarism incident, everyone returned to normal life, but the conflict between Mr. Ba and Morphe has not yet been resolved. In order to live a happy life, the boss left everything in the company and accompanied Morphe to climb the mountain. Perhaps moved by the sincerity of the boss, the two reconciled again and agreed to love each other for the rest of their lives. Like once. The girl had just handed herself over to her beloved boss, and she thought it was the beginning of love, but she didn't expect it to end. The boss's mother resolutely opposed the two being together, believing that Morphe's identity and status did not match her son at all. So the mother and son had a big fight. In order to make her son give up, the woman was about to come to Morphe to negotiate, but met her mother. Both seemed to be somewhat familiar with each other. The boss's mother said, "Where have we met?" Mother Morphe said, "I think you are so familiar, why are you so familiar?" The boss's mother said, Your husband is Tang Jiren." Mother Morphe said, "Yes, ha ha ha." The boss's mother said, "Are you Mo Yusin?" It turned out that Morphe's mother used to be a model in the company, and she was also a good girlfriend with Mr. Ba's mother. It's just that Morphe's mother has been living abroad all these years, and the two have gradually lost contact. Good girlfriends are naturally polite when they meet. Mother Morphe said, "Don't say it, over the years, your temperament is getting better and better." The boss's mother said, "How can there be, you are still old, you haven't changed." The sisters complimented each other, and at this time they didn't know that each other's children were in love. The more the two chatted, the happier they became. Unknowingly, I talked about my children. Finally found a listener, the boss's mother couldn't help but express her troubles. "I took a fancy to a girl with his father, the family background is comparable to ours, and this girl, who grew up with him, childhood sweetheart, has been in a relationship for 20 or 30 years. But I don't know what's going on, a vixen came out recently, which made my son confused." Hey, now children's feelings are really not up to adults. Morphe's mother is still sighing for her girlfriend. As everyone knows, the vixen that my girlfriend said is her daughter. Next is the time for good girlfriends to tear their faces. Mr. Ba's mother accidentally saw her family photo, and Morphe's mother also enthusiastically introduced her children to her girlfriends. But the best friend changed her face after seeing the photo. "Your daughter is Morphe." Morphe's mother said, "Yes, have you seen it?" The boss's mother said, "I am Tang Mingxuan's mother, this is what I call a fox spirit." Mother Morphe said, "How do you talk?" The boss's mother said, "That's how I spoke." Mother Morphe said, "Who do you think is the vixen?" The boss's mother said, "Your daughter." My best friend, who was just okay with a person, insulted each other regardless of the image at this time, and turned her face faster than turning a book. At this moment, Morphe happened to return home. Seeing this, the boss's mother threw her anger on her again. "Please stay away from Tang Mingxian and don't disturb him anymore." In the face of her future mother-in-law's sole warning, Mo-Fei was not angry. She hoped that her future mother-in-law would not make things difficult for her family, and she would have a good talk with her another day. In the end, under Morphe's concession, several people broke up unhappily. Today is the day when Morphe negotiates with her future mother-in-law. Mr. Ba's mother came up and gave Mo-Fei a dismissal. "Miss Mo, the last meeting between the two of us was very unpleasant, and I can't guarantee that it will be very harmonious this time, so I'll get straight to the point." The boss's mother told Mo-Fei that she and her son were not people of the same world, and even if they were together, they would not last long. He also said that the most important thing in marriage is the right person, and if Morphe wants to marry a rich person, he will help her introduce some rich second generations. Although it is not as good as his own son, it is more than enough to match Morphe. The boss's mother unceremoniously said what she was thinking that Morphe would retreat in the face of difficulties, but the result far exceeded her expectations. Morphe first admitted the excellence of the boss. "I am also very honored to be able to fall in love with him." But then he changed his mind, which directly made Mr. Ba's mother stunned. "No one can force me to be with anyone, so I won't separate from Mingxian because of anyone's pressure. I can tell you very clearly that my studies are not finished and I will leave Shanghai in a while. I made this decision not because of the pressure you put on me, but because I am responsible for my own future." The rich woman did not respond after hearing this. She has been calmed down by Morphe's neither humility nor arrogance. After returning home, the mother tried to persuade her son, saying that Morphe was not a person at all, she only wanted to study abroad, hoping that her son would not be deceived by Morphe's simple appearance. Mother said, "You know she's amazing, that little mouth is banging, logical, reasoning in comparison, and it's so angry." The overlord said, "There is still this side." Mother said, "Of course you won't show this side in front of you, but I saw that people are small and big." The mother added oil and vinegar to tell the content of the conversation between the two, thinking that her son could see Morphe clearly. But it wasn't until the end that she discovered that her son was actually a licking dog, and she had to take Morphe home to meet. But the mother resolutely disagreed, believing that Xia Shuling, who was a childhood sweetheart with her son, was the best choice. The mother and son broke up unhappily. Early the next morning, the boss asked Xia Shuling out to meet and asked her to find a boyfriend quickly and not wait for herself any longer. Xia Shuling said, "It doesn't matter, anyway, my dream since I was a child is to marry you, put on a wedding dress and stand next to you, even if it's just for one day, I am willing." After hearing this, Mr. Ba was both moved and helpless. But Xia Shuling laughed. In fact, she had already been relieved. Since the twisted melon is not sweet, it is better to fulfill each other. The boss smiled from ear to ear, turned his head and took Morphe home. Morphe said, "Auntie, this is the clothes I made with my own hands, and I want to give it to you." Maybe it was because the two had an unpleasant quarrel before. The future mother-in-law lied that she was uncomfortable and wanted to run away, but when the boss saw this, he forcibly stuffed his clothes into his mother's hands. Morphe was a little disappointed. She knew that a marriage that was not blessed would not be happy. It didn't take long for her to choose to study abroad. Mo-Fei turned his thoughts about the boss into a motivation for learning, and wanted to make a proof of his achievements to show his future mother-in-law. But our boss is uncomfortable, without a wife by his side. The boss lives like a year, and often can't sleep at night. So the next day he went abroad and proposed to Morphe in front of the Louvre. "Miss Morphe, are you willing to marry me?" Morphe said, "It hurts to kneel like this." The boss said, "Kneel down for a while, as long as you are willing to marry me, I can kneel for a day." Looking at the sincere eyes of the boss, Morphe no longer hesitated, and immediately stretched out her little tender hand. The overlord smiled from ear to ear, and quickly put on an egg-sized diamond ring for Morphe, for fear that she would regret it. The two made an oath in front of the Louvre. "We will never be separated in this life." The two recalled the bits and pieces of the past, and everything was so beautiful. But they still have a problem to face. The boss's mother has always disliked Morphe and thinks she is not worthy of her son. The boss's mother said, "This son is raised in vain, and there is only a Morphe in his heart. How can I have the position of a mother? Compared with my mother, my father is more in line with the principle of freedom of love." In order for his son to be happy, he also specially organized a dinner, hoping that his wife and daughter-in-law would let go of their past grievances. At this time, Mo-Fei's heart was more uneasy. After all, she had a very unpleasant quarrel with her mother-in-law before. After a polite greeting, Mr. Ba took Morphe to his mother and sat down. Seeing that the atmosphere was a little awkward, the boss's father began to assist. Early this morning, your mother cleaned up for a long time and arrived here an hour early. You see, she also prepared this wine. The boss's mother said, "Are you okay?" My mother knew that this was giving herself a step, and since the two of them had already fallen into place, it was not easy for her to stop them anymore. She picked up her glass and sent her blessings to the loving couple. Morphe and Mr. Ba said together, "Thank you, Mom, thank you, Dad." The boss's father said, "Well, I wish you happiness." In the midst of laughter, the family finished the reunion dinner. Immediately afterwards, the overlord got a marriage certificate from Morphe. From now on, the two are a legal couple. The boss couldn't help but sigh. "I used to live alone. Well, I slept alone. So what does it feel like for the two of us to live together, sleep in the same bed, and hold you every day? I'm looking forward to it." Morphe said, "What are you expecting?" At night, Morphe took Mr. Ba to the studio and gave him a wedding surprise. The two became acquainted because of Sue embroidery, and Mo-Fei used Sue embroidery skills to make a wedding dress. Mr. Ba was very moved, and if he had such a wife, what more could he ask for? Today is the wedding of Mr. Ba and Morphe, and the scene was full of guests and friends, sending deep blessings to the newlyweds. But the overlord told the story to the melon-eating masses. It turned out that 20 years ago, the boss met 5-year-old Morphe here. With a little fox in his hand and a little prince's storybook, the two spent a wonderful afternoon here. Since then, the overlord has become dependent on Morphe in his heart. Maybe it's fate. God let them meet again after 20 years. Morphe said, "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" The boss said, "If I had told you earlier, wouldn't there be no surprises?" Morphe said, "But I was only 5 years old at that time, how can I remember?" It took 20 years for Mr. Ba to go from dream to reality, and he finally married the love of his heart. Since then, he has lived a happy life.